Hey Strategy Simplified, it's Japheth, your producer, and I'm really stoked for today's short and sweet episode all about Bain's upcoming July 7th application deadline and how you can get ready. Specifically, I'm going to talk about who is eligible for these roles. Number 2, I'm going to talk about a 4-step application checklist to make sure you've got all your bases covered. Number 3, I'm going to talk about next steps after you submitted the application. All right, if you're finding value in the podcast, I would love for you to just pause the episode and go to Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you're listening. Leave a quick rating and review. It really does help the show reach more listeners, get the word out more, and help us create more impact through the pod. Thank you in advance. All right, let's get into this episode. All right, y'all, first off, I'm going to cover who is eligible for Bain's upcoming roles. Now, these roles are the Associate Consultant and Associate Consultant Intern role. Let's talk about the Associate Consultant Intern role, Bain's entry-level internship. So, if you're on track to graduate from your program by June of 2026, you are eligible. This means that you would complete the internship next year between your junior and your senior year, right? So, right now, you are a rising sophomore. So, that's who the Associate Consultant Intern role is for. The Associate Consultant role is a little bit more broad, open to a couple more folks. And so if you're in an undergraduate or especially master's program, you're graduating, next spring, you are eligible. In addition, if you've already graduated one of these programs, undergrad or 1 or 2 year specialty master's program, and you have between 0 and 5 years of work experience, Bain's also generally going to consider you eligible for this role because it is an entry-level role. If you have more than 5 years of work experience or you've got an advanced degree like an MBA or a JD or a PhD, you are not eligible for these roles, and Bain will reject your application and tell you to apply for a different role. You might need to wait for a whole year or up to 18 months before you can apply again. So don't make the frequent mistake of thinking that Bain wants a discount on your experience or wants to bring you in at a lower level than your experience dictates. It's not a good look for you. It makes you look desperate. So please don't make this mistake. If this is you, there are other roles that Bain has for you, but these are not for you. All right, now that we've got that out of the way, let's go through a quick 4-part application checklist to make sure your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. So, first step is to triple check your application documents. I'm talking about mostly your resume and your cover letter. Note that Bain does require a cover letter, so make sure you've got it. You're going to want to double and triple and quadruple check those documents for any mistakes or inconsistencies or something that just doesn't look right. And I highly encourage you to ask a friend or a couple of friends, peers, mentors, whatever, to review your documents just to get another perspective on them. You can actually work with the team at Management Consulted. We can edit and review your resume and your cover letter. We'll go line by line, 2 rounds of really in-depth editing on your content, your structure, and your format to make sure it's Bain ready. There is still a little bit of time for you to get your docs edited before Sunday's July 7th deadline. If at checkout you add the Expedite package to your package, and that will enable 48 hours per round of editing so that you can get your docs back in time. That does mean you have to purchase and submit your edits today, Wednesday, July 3rd, at the latest, to get your docs back in time. All right, bonus tip for this first part is that you need to export your resume and cover letter as a PDF, not a Word document. Do not submit a Word document in Bain's online application. We'll be right back after this quick message. Looking for consulting firms that are hiring can be like trying to find a needle in a huge haystack. That's why we're excited to tell you about Palmtree, a leading M&A advisory and consulting firm that is looking for top talent across its U.S. offices in Los Angeles, Chicago, Detroit, and Dallas. Palmtree is a firm that sits at the intersection of strategy, finance, and analytics. The firm looks like a traditional consulting firm for the outside, but it's much more than that, functioning as a one-stop shop to support private equity clients. Palmtree is the single source for financial consulting and investment banking. If you're looking to develop a unique skill set, receive world-class training, and work for a dynamic firm, apply to Palmtree today. Visit the careers page at palmtreellc.com or click on the link in this episode's show notes. All right, second step of this 4-part application checklist, submit. So you're going to submit everything you need for the application, including resume, cover letter, transcripts, scores, etc. So go through the online application process. Simple enough. Number 3, you're going to want to initiate the referral process. So hopefully you've been networking and you've gained an advocate or 2 or 3 inside of Bain, and they want to vouch for your application to help get you through the door and into an interview. So you're going to want to follow the instructions that your contacts at Bain gave you. This usually just simply looks like checking in to let them know after you've submitted your application so that they can vouch for your application internally, but every firm has its different procedures for this process. So initiate the referral process to get your foot in the door, give yourself a much, much better chance of getting into an interview. Finally, do a little happy dance. Well done. A lot of stress is involved in this process, and this is one small step towards your bigger career aspirations. So take a deep breath, celebrate, go out and have a nice dinner, play some golf, whatever it is that you do to celebrate with friends. Job well done. However, it's not the time to just sit back and chill out for the next couple of weeks. Now the kind of real work begins of preparing for case interviews. And ideally, you've already started this weeks and months ago. If not, it is not too late, but you do need to start as soon as possible. So the last part of this podcast, just talking about next steps. And that next step is preparing for interviews, both the case interview and the behavioral interview. Don't neglect the behavioral interview. A lot of candidates do, and it ends up costing them the opportunity at an amazing, life-changing job in consulting, right? So in an ideal world, you would allow yourself 12 weeks for the case interview prep process. Now, if you're applying for Bain, you have around 2 to 4 weeks. We expect interviews to start in late July, right? So you don't have those 12 weeks. We do have a 4-week prep plan, and we'd love to work through it with you in our Black Belt Case Prep program. So check out the links in the show notes to learn more about Black Belt. To join, we pair you up with an expert MBB coach who walks you through a dialed-in case and fit interview prep process to make sure that all your bases are covered and that you're giving it your best shot and that you're getting ready in the time that you have. So the program flexes to your timeline, to your goals, to your background, to your strengths and weaknesses. Okay, deep breath. So I've covered who is eligible for Bain's associate consultant and associate consultant intern rules. I've given you a 4-step application checklist, and I've talked about next steps for you to start with today. I hope this has been helpful, and don't forget to turn in your Bain application before the deadline at midnight on this Sunday, July 7th. If you've got questions, last-minute questions about what you're doing or need to be doing or don't need to be doing, reach out, team@managementconsulted.com. That's TEAM at managementconsulted.com, and we'll let you know. We'll give you your honest thoughts. Thank you in advance. As a side note, there will be no podcast this coming Friday as we are off for the July 4th holiday here in the United States. So enjoy the long weekend if you're celebrating. We hope to see you on the next episode of Strategy Simplified soon.